because Fairfax County Child Protective Services is so out of control that they hurt rather than help families in need. On top of the grief we had already been through and my already back-breaking struggle to care single-handedly for my children, we were dragged through months of harassment and threats to my custody by CPS because I was slowly building shelves by hand to unpack our belongings into, had brought books and papers home from work when I gave up my office in order to be able to work at home so as to be with my children more, had plants for my husband's funeral in our home, God forbid, and because a hopelessly naive social worker deemed my decor kitschy, I was subjected to inane psychobabble by the social worker with no clinical credentials, who considered my explanation of our extenuating circumstances tangential thinking. My already grieving children were stripped of their beloved pets. I was very nearly hospitalized because I was forced to move all my books and journals that I was trying to use in my work from my dining room to my basement despite my severe osteoarthritis. The bottom line is that I invited the health department to inspect my home and document to CPS that there were no safety problems in my home. CPS still persisted in hounding me until I had the Board of Supervisors intervene. I also had to have the Board of Supervisors pressure CPS to send me the case report, which CPS tried to tell me didn't exist, which was full of misstatements and outright lies, which CPS refuses to correct. And by the way, from which I learned that the social worker wasted taxpayers' dollars on over 30 trips to my home, during which she played peeping Tom through my windows, and visits to my child's school and calls to my child's school without my knowledge, before ever bothering to directly contact me. I confirmed with CPS that this was intentional because they rely so heavily on the element of surprise. Anyway, my 2 points. One, there's a terrible problem with the system that encourages anonymous complaints when those are then evaluated and acted on by workers with grossly impaired judgment and perspective who are not held accountable. And 2, especially in this time of fiscal cutbacks, you really need to be asking very pointed questions about why this agency is wasting so much money, diverting it away from real needs to torture people like me. They need an extreme reality check and some means to hold them accountable for their appalling judgment before you approve any budget for them.